Another easy entry-level hands-on woodworking tool to teach our youngest makers that come here in the lab, or anybody who's just getting used to working with wood, is going to be some basic hammering techniques. We have these lovely hammers in our lab that are great for our younger makers. They've got the real sort of heavy weight to the top. It's gonna feel like working with a real hammer and be able to do a lot of what a real hammer does, but the handle itself is smaller and it feels a little lighter. So I like to have our younger students get started using a hammer like this before we move up to a full-size hammer that has a lot more leverage and can, move a nail much more quickly and potentially have a bigger impact. But this will really do the same thing. It gets students used to working with a hammer. So we've got our hammers inside of the bin. These are a yellow dot tool. Yellow means share your setup with your adult that's nearby, your teacher. That just means let us know what you're planning to do with the hammer. We want you to use these. We just want to be aware if people have them out and how you're planning to use them. We've got a block of wood here. I practice with these with students all the time, so I've already got some holes that have been made. I've got a couple of nails. Now, I like to work with these silver pointed nails as we're getting used to woodworking. They're a little larger, so it's gonna be easier for this nail to go into the wood. They're brightly colored, so they're easy to see when we're looking at our hammering. Hammering safety. I've also set myself up here with a carpet square. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing fine woodworking or hammering on a slippery surface at any point in time. But I use these as we're teaching hammering in the shop to keep the noise level down a little bit, to give a clearly defined space where someone is working, and to keep those points at the nails out of our nice woodworking tabletop as much as we can. I mean, this is a wood shop. It's going to get scratched up and dented a bit, but it just gives us another sort of safety check before something might be nailed into the table, and before we kind of learn all the techniques of how we work with the wood. I'll show students that we're gonna grip the hammer with the hand that you write or the hand that you color with. I'm gonna take the nail with the other hand, center it on our wood, and hold it upright, but not have our finger or our thumb directly next to the head of the nail, just to give ourselves a little bit of space. And then I always show this technique that I want the students to listen to how loud I'm hitting the nail as it goes in. In addition, I want their eyes on the nail head, because that's gonna help guide you to the right connection between your hammer and your nail head, and not somewhere else. If you're looking up, talking to a friend, moving around, that's when you could accidentally hit your thumb or your finger and get hurt, right? So careful taps. You'll hear how loud this is. I can still carry on a conversation while I'm doing this. Of course, looking at the nail. It's just not that loud, but it's a careful, calculated tap, and it's much safer this way. Now, it's already putting the nail into my wood, and the nail, as soon as that point gets in, is going to hold itself up. So now I can take my hand away pretty much and hammer the rest of it in on my own. I might now switch to holding the wood with my hand and continuing my nice taps to get it in. You often see a cartoon of someone, really just like hammering a nail in there. You'll see it in a movie, or like somebody's just slinging a hammer into a nail. And truly, not only is it hard to be accurate when we work in that way, but it's really bad for our body. It's bad for our wrist, our elbow, and our shoulder to be having that kind of impact as we're going into a hard surface. So this is much gentler on your body. As you're learning how to hammer, there's no need to do it quickly, right? So you get the idea. And then when we're learning how to use the tools in the lab, I'll generally give every student, one nail and one block of wood, and then their one hammer. So we've got enough here for 5 or 6 students to be working at the same time. And I ask them to keep using the same nail over and over again. I found that keeps us taking good care of the nails. They don't get bent as quickly when we know we have to use it again. And then we also get to practice taking it out. Tip, this is an important part of the hammer. It's like a crowbar feature where the nail's gonna go in here and we can pop it out of the wood. Take our hammer, hook it around the nail, and use that to just lift the nail right out of the wood. using the back. And then we can hammer again. Cleanup for hammering is pretty straightforward. Put the hammer back, return the nails to our big hardware center, which are these red bins over here behind me. Return the scrap wood to the scrap wood or to the nail wood pile. And if you're the last class in here for this activity, we'll return the carpet squares, which I keep underneath the painting cabinet in the wood shop.